Okay, this is part 89 of Nos4a2. Real life. Vic woke, aware that the hour was late and that something was wrong. She could hear voices, muted by stone and distance, could identify the speakers as male, even if she could not determine what they were saying. She smelled the faintest whiff of burned phosphorus. She had the muddled idea that she'd slept right through a commotion, sealed in the soundproofed sarcophagus fashioned by Maggie's pharmaceuticals. She rolled herself up to a sitting position, feeling she ought to get dressed and go. After a few moments, she determined she was already dressed. She had not removed her sneakers before falling asleep. Her left knee was a poisonous shade of violet, and as fat as one of Lou's knees. A red candle burned in the darkness, reflecting an image of itself in the fish tank's glass. There was a note over on the desk. Maggie had left her a note before going. That was thoughtful of her. Vic could see her .38 caliber paperweight, Chekhov's gun, holding it down. Vic was hoping for instructions, a set of simple steps that would bring Wayne back to her, make her leg better, make her head better, make her life better. Barring that, just a note saying where Maggie had gone would be all right. Ran to the Night Owl for ramen and drugs. We'll be right back. XOXO. Vic heard the voices again. Someone kicked a beer can not far away. They were moving toward her. They were close, and if she didn't blow out the candle, they were going to wander into the old children's wing and see the light shining through the fish tank. Even as this thought came to her, she understood that it was already almost too late. She heard glass crunching underfoot, boot heels moving closer. She sprang up. Her knee collapsed. She dropped onto it, bit down on a scream. When Vic tried to stand, her leg refused to cooperate. She stretched it out behind her with great care, shutting her eyes and pushing through the pain, and then dragging herself across the floor using her knuckles and her right foot. What saved in agony, it made up for in humiliation. Her right hand grabbed the back of the rolling chair. Her left took the edge of the desk. She used the two to hoist herself up and sway forward over the desktop. The men were in the other room, right on the other side of the wall. Their flashlights had not yet swung toward the fish tank, and she thought it possible they had not observed the dim, coppery shine of the candle flame yet, and she bent forward to blow it out, then caught herself staring down at the note written on a sheet of Here Library stationery. When the angels fall, the children go home. The paper was spattered with water stains, as if long ago someone had read this message and wept. Vic heard one of the voices in the next room. "Hank, we got a light." This was followed a moment later by a crackle of voices on a walkie-talkie, a dispatcher passing along a message in numbered code. There was a 10:57 at the public library, 6 officers responding, victim dead on the scene. Vic had bent to put out the candle, but victim dead stopped her. She leaned forward, lips pursed, but had forgotten what she'd intended to do. The door behind her moved, and wood scraping against stone, hitting some loose glass and sending it tinkling. "Excuse me," came the voice behind her. "Ma'am, could you step over here? Please keep your hands in full sight." Vic picked up Chekhov's gun and turned around with it and pointed it at his chest. "No." There were 2 of them. Neither had his gun out, and she was not surprised. She doubted if most police officers unsnapped their holsters in the line of duty even once in an average year. Chubby white boys, the both of them. The one in front pointed a powerful penlight at her. The other was stuck in the doorway behind him, still half in the children's library. "Hey!" squeaked the boy with the flashlight. Squeaked the boy with the light. "Gun! Gun!" "Shut up, stay where you are," she said. "Keep your hands away from your belts and drop that flashlight. It's right in my fucking eyes." The cop dropped it. It shut off the moment it fell from his hand, clattered across the floor. They stood there, freckled and dumpy and scared, the candlelight rising and falling over their faces. One of them was probably coaching his son's Little League team tomorrow. The other probably liked being a cop because it meant free milkshakes at McDonald's. They reminded her of kids playing dress-up. "Who's dead?" she said. "Ma'am, you need to put that gun down. No one wants to get hurt tonight," he said. His voice wavered and cracked like an adolescent boy's. "Who?" she said, her voice choking up on her, wavering at the edge of a scream. "Your radio said someone is dead. Who? Tell me now." "Some woman," said the guy in back, stuck in the doorway. The guy in front of him had raised his hands, palms out. She couldn't see what the other guy was doing with his hands, probably drawing his gun, but he didn't matter yet. He was jammed behind his partner, would have to shoot through him to get her. No ID. What color was her hair? Vic cried. The second man said, Did you know her? What color was her fucking hair? It had orange sprayed into it, like orange soda colored. You know her? Asked the second cop, the one who probably had his gun out. It was difficult to work the fact of Maggie's death into her mind. It was like being asked to multiply fractions while suffering from a head cold. Too much work, too baffling. Only a moment ago they had been stretched out on the couch together, Maggie's arm over her waist and her legs against the back of Vic's thighs. The heat of her had put Vic right to sleep. It amazed Vic that Maggie had slipped off to die someplace while Vic herself slept on. It was bad enough that only a few days before Vic had yelled at Maggie, had cursed and threatened her. This seemed far worse, graceless and inconsiderate, for Vic to sleep peacefully while Maggie died somewhere out in a street. How? Vic asked. Car, maybe. Looks like she got clipped by a car. Jesus. Just put the gun down. Put the gun down and let's talk. Let's not, Vic said, and turned her head and blew out the candle, dropping all three of them into